Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the NFT Morning Show. Wednesday, November 15th. We are back today. We have a lot to dig into. We are going to discuss Solana's surge to another 2023 high and why kicks might be selling soon. I saw him tweeting about it. I gave him a little response. We can hash it out live here. We're going to talk about Disney's latest NFT bet, and we're going to go through some 2024 gaming predictions. But first, I mean, Clemente's just, he's funny, man. He wants to talk about moving to Miami.
What's there to talk about? It's happening. Like, there's not really much to talk about besides, like, when, I think, is the best topic of conversation here. Next month?
This is like Clemente trying to manifest this so bad. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, for context, Clemente just moved to New York 3 months ago. He doesn't have any roots here. He doesn't have a dog. He doesn't have a lady over here. There's no family here. He's like, wait, we can move to Miami? Like what? So he's just pushing for that. He's ready to rock. He speaks Spanish. He's good to go. Yeah, I mean, I got people in my replies telling me what neighborhoods to move in. One guy actually had a really funny comment. He said, move to Fort Lauderdale. You guys will run this town. They're going to fade you in Miami, is what he said. I've been to Fort Lauderdale. I like Fort Lauderdale, but I just thought it was a really funny comment.
Yeah, dude, 45 minutes outside of Miami just sounds electric.
Dude, the streets are the Miami streets, dude. Every time I'm walking down the street when I'm there, they just fade the shit out of me, dude. I get no respect when I'm in the streets. It's rough, dude. It's rough.
This is one of my ethnic Kevin James memes. I have like a few more that I have to run through. They're really funny. Someone just said Fort Lauderdale sucks.
Well, I was looking at apartments last night with Easy was helping me out, and I was doing like a side-by-side comparison of the apartments. I've already been looking for apartments.
You can't do this, dude. The problem is if you do this, living in New York, one of the most common pastimes / hobbies of New Yorkers is going on Zillow and checking out literally everywhere else that they can go live. Now, the frustrating thing about Zillow is it doesn't cover other countries, which would be game changing if it did. You got to go to other sites for that. So sometimes, you got to explore Lisbon. And then you're in Lisbon and you're like, well, it's not that big of a savings. What if I went slightly outside of Lisbon? And now you're finding towns outside of Lisbon, beach towns, which are a little more slower paced. Suddenly you're deciding that you're going to go to the countryside in Italy and buy a castle for $1. And so it just goes downhill from there. A lot of people say, I'm going to move to Houston is another spot that one's like that. Most people say Austin, but then like the true cost savers are like, I'm gonna move to Houston. And so they go and look at Houston and the gigantic places they can get and live alongside oil barons in Houston. And I saw a Business Insider article, which was like, yeah, we moved to Houston and we didn't save that much. And we're moving back to Oregon. And I mean, first of all, the cost of moving is a decent amount, and you kind of offset the savings that you get from pretty much anywhere, just with like your first move. Not completely. It depends on how much you're making. If you're making like $500,000 a year, it's a completely different conversation.
But the taxes, Nick, the reoccurring savings that occur.
So I went and looked yesterday. I'll save $15,000 a year by moving to Miami, and or somewhere that's towards the upper range. That's not including the capital gains tax savings that I get because I got to pay New York, and I think New York City even has a capital gains tax.
Is that
right? You don't know because you operate illegally, so that's that like you don't pay attention to those sorts of terms. So it's all good. But talk to your accountant. Pio's always like, oh, just talk to my accountant. I'm like, oh, does your accountant like advise you on tax fraud? Like, is it? So if the accountant says that, yeah, you live in Puerto Rico, I guess you live in Puerto Rico. Like, that's basically what I could just opt into that apparently. So whereas other people are at least like getting up and physically moving locations, I think it's because you haven't had a huge year where like if you get a windfall of like $5 million or something like that, or even a couple $1 million, and you suddenly disappear from the state, they're going to be like, oh, okay. I had a situation where I made money in another state, moved to California, had another, I had an earnout on a company, and I ended up back. The California wanted to be like, yeah, we're going to retroactively change the taxes for the past 2 years, and you're going to owe taxes on those past 2 years. We've increased it. Turned out you can't do that. I think it was found to be like illegal as a result of it. But anyways, so Clemente, what else did you find?
I found just phenomenal. Like the problem is for New York, when you go in like sub $3,000 a month in the Lower East Side, like
You're looking for places by yourself.
Yeah. Well, there were actually some 2 bedrooms that were not bad. But the other thing is like
but by myself until I was like 27. Actually, I didn't leave until. Yeah, go ahead.
So real quick on the roommate situation, I was looking at. God, I hate this lighting. I was looking at roommates.
You have blinds?
And no, I would. All right, hold on. Let me focus.
I get it. You can't afford it because your rent's so high. But yeah, go ahead.
I was looking at roommates. There's this website that PO showed me, and well, I need to move in a month, and some of the people that were there, they're either like in their 30s already, or they're like they just seem kind of weird. Like the chance that I can find someone that's like okay with me running a podcast every morning from the apartment and like is okay with me and is also like in the same lifestyle. I just don't see how likely that is in the next 30 days, but I'm open to it. Like I'm not sold.
You're in New York City where there's literally millions of people. So it's a little bit different than the small town that you grew up in, Seattle.
Tiny town.
Then the very tiny town. And
Small town.
And that no one's even heard of it. And then
where's Seattle? Is that in Wyoming?
Yes. And so the bottom line is, dude, come to some of these meetups. There's an event on Thursday. Go to the event on Thursday. I'm going to send you a link for this. I got a DM from somebody at one of the local NFT meetups. There's a speaker thing. Get networking and focus on who's looking for a roommate, because that is a legit conversation that's going on in New York, pretty much on the regular. It also depends on, maybe you can walk around Financial District or go outside of like Goldman Sachs and some of these other places and literally just stop people as they're walking out and be like, are you looking for a roommate? Because you want someone that's getting up at like 5 a.m. and just leaving to work and coming back at 11 p.m. I had that set up when I was when I started blogging, and I just worked from home and no one was ever there because you're working with these finance people who apparently still need to be in the office from 5 until.
Or Clemente, you save like $700 to $800 a month, 80-degree weather, palm trees, a beach 10 minutes away, totally flat land where you can just ride a bike everywhere. Really friendly people. Oddly enough, no one seems to work down here. It's just kind of like what happens. But it's great vibes. I mean, like, it's awesome. You don't like at that rate, you don't even need a roommate.
It's because it's sunny. People, I said this to, I don't know if it was to Clemente or Pia. One of the reasons that I always stayed in a slightly uncomfortable climate, even San Francisco would get like, you're sort of just like, I don't like this, like at certain moments in time. It was because it kept you on edge. It kept your nose to the grind. Nose to the grindstone, whatever the hell it is. I mean, my nose is all over the place, but like the bottom line is, I think that you need to get a little bit of the shit beat out of you by living in New York City. Like it just adds a degree of character. They say don't go. What was that song with the guy where he talks about using sunscreen and he's like, don't go to the West Coast because you'll get for too long. Otherwise you'll get soft. But you got to stay there long enough to like enjoy the weather. And that's the situation that you're dealing with, Clemente, is you have a life filled of softness, which is not, and you need to come to a place that's just going to make you feel just desperately uncomfortable and question all of your life decisions, basically.
Yeah, that place is Miami. No one sleeps. It's 85 degrees in the winter, 100 in the summer. It makes you really question, like, wow, how could I have made such a good decision to move down here and save 20% a year on taxes alone? It's electric.
Funny enough, I actually do agree with Nick about the hardness that can be developed from a place like New York. I mean, I'm biased because I grew up in Boston, so think about it. I grew up shoveling snow for no reason. Like, there was just no reason to do it. And you'll see the dads that shoveled snow all day and then they feel accomplished at the end of the day and they start knocking back Budweisers and getting hammered because it was such a hard day's work. And it's like you just moved a bunch of snow for no reason. And if you lived in Miami, that wouldn't be a thing. You know what I mean? That's just completely eliminated. So I do actually
think the reason was so you could walk on the sidewalk.
Right, but I mean, if you lived in Miami, that whole reality is just not there. So go work on something else. You know what I mean? Like, there's other things that you have to work on. Same thing with LA. I mean, I lived in LA for 4 years, and definitely there isn't the same hardness when it comes to work ethic that exists in the Northeast. But Clemente's working with us, so don't worry, we're going to be working him to the bone. Just kidding. Clemente has a really good work ethic. I think probably from tennis seems to be where he gets the work ethic from. Among
from the hard streets of Seattle, the 425, as they call it. Growing up in the rain, darkness for about 6 months, that changes a man. It really,
that's true.
It's still shoveling snow, but it's darkness, just depression for 6 months. It gets to you for sure. I don't know if it's Boston and drinking Budweisers like Pio did when he was 6 years old, but it's up there.
There you go. Well, look, we got 3 winners from the BoDoggos merch giveaway that we did yesterday. Number 1, OX Talks. That's TOX. Shout out to Talks. He's a BoDoggo. Shout out to Machinato. Mash. I see him always roasting us in the comments. Shout out to Machinato. And then shout out to Half Basic. So the Nifty Twitter account is going to DM the 3 of you, Talks, Machinato, and Half Basic, and ask for your shipping info. And I'm going to personally, the shirts are literally right next to me right now. I'm going to ship these to you personally. So shout out to you 3. You're going to get the merch shipped directly to you. Miguel Ribeiro is complaining that he didn't win. It's okay, Miguel, because we're doing way more of this stuff, and you're going to get a chance to win something else. 1,000%, Miguel, so have no fear. Nick?
So it says, live in New York City once, but leave before it makes you hard. Live in Northern California once, but leave before it makes you soft.
There you go. That's true. You lived in Northern California for 7 years, Nick.
Yeah, that was the one time that I lived there. Correct. He didn't qualify the quantity of time that you had to live there. I think that I feel like 7 years is sufficient. What is that comment? I don't understand.
Test Tube said that I'm going to be shipping people anthrax. First of all, I haven't heard
you shouldn't even say that out loud. Like, you're about to get a knock at your door in 15 minutes because you're going to be like, someone's here. I got to go.
It's okay. First of all, just dropping anthrax is a funny, I now know how old Test Tube Ted is because, when I was a kid, I remember the anthrax scares that we had. That was pretty funny. Anyway, let's get cooking here. Today's show is in partnership. You see the account on stage with Paragon. So staying on trend of having kick-ass gaming partners, Paragon is building the ultimate NFT experience platform created by a team of venture-backed Portal and BoDoggo community members. Okay, so this is shout out to the BoDoggos and Nifty Portal community doing big things. Paragon is going to be giving NFT holders the ability to get more out of their NFTs without having to sell. Features like
say enter the portal. This is incredible.
There you go. Try before you buy. Buy now, pay later, also known as BNipple. Renting NFTs and more. Okay, so the platform is in closed beta right now, but they're launching their NFT collection tomorrow as an introduction to the ecosystem. The NFT collection is called The Seekers, and guess what? It's minting for free on Ethereum tomorrow. The allow list is closed, and minting begins at 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. Public minting starts at 2 p.m. Eastern, and the supply is 9630. So the NFT gives holders a reward multiplier. You can a player in Paragon's game and makes for a great profile picture. Most importantly, though, it gives every holder access to the Paragon platform's closed beta and will have all sorts of platform benefits. So in the meantime, you can earn rewards at play.findtheparagon.com. That's play.findtheparagon.com. We have it pinned on the Twitter Spaces stage. We have it over here on the YouTube screen. So we are actually going to be speaking with Tim from Paragon later in the show. Very exciting stuff. Very exciting. Free mint going live tomorrow. Love it. Very juicy. We're going to get in the mix with Paragon later on in the show. Really pumped to partner with them on this. We got to dive into the weather report. Kix was here. He's not here anymore. I don't know what happened to him.
What happened?
His internet's out. He said he's only on Spaces.
What's going on with his internet?
Well, I had a lot of faith in Xfinity. I thought it was a smart corporate company, and yeah, they decided to do maintenance from 9 to 11 instead of overnight. I guess there's just no hard workers in America anymore.
Well, can you run the weather report from your phone, amigo?
Yeah. I'm currently pulling up the Google Docs right now. My awesome assistant / business partner, Easy, just sent it over here. So we're gonna have no music, but we're going to have a lot of enthusiasm. So I'm going to hop in right to it. Welcome to the Weather Report by Kix. Today, Wednesday, November 15th. We got market volume coming in 17 million. Blur 12.8. OpenSea 2.8. And we're even adding Solana now, 2.2 million. That's not bad. Looking at the leaders, everything is holding steady except for Captainz. That's up 9% to 4.75. And CryptoPunk still looking really strong, right around 60 ETH. Other big movers, huge rip up in parallel avatars, up 60%. Those are above 0.6. That was a 10x if you tick the bottom. Potatoes up 10%. Michelin Explorer Club up 73% to 0.15. And Rex Guy up 7% as well. Solana saw a huge run overnight, up 20%. In the last 24 hours to $63, marking another 2023 high. Avalanche also saw a 16% gain, got up close to $20. Meanwhile, ETH and Bitcoin holding steady and neither really moving. They're just chopping in a 1% range. Big news over from Disney. They're trying to get some more revenue into that company. So they said, let's get into NFTs. They partnered up with Dapper Labs, creating a new platform called Disney Pinnacle, which will have digital pins featuring IP from Pixar, Star Wars, and Walt Disney. They said, hey, you can do anything in digital. Let's make some pins. The platform is built on Flow. That's the same blockchain that Doodles is using for its digital clothing earlier this year. It was also, still is, Top Shot's platform. Winner of the day goes to Parallel Avatars, as I said, up 60% to 6.6 plus ETH. Prime token up 32% in the last 24 hours, almost at $6, following a restructuring of Prime rewards for wins in their game and their news from Monday of their game receiving approval from Epic Games. So that thing is cooking. Last but not least, Cathie Wood appeared on CNBC yesterday and was asked about her fund's cryptocurrency investments. And she said that Solana is faster and cheaper than Ethereum. She said her PFP is a BoDoggo. And she said that Web3 digital assets are a big idea, which sent crypto Twitter into a frenzy. That's it for the weather report. Back to you in the studio.
Fantastic weather report as usual. Love to hear that Cathie Wood literally co-signed our NFT project on television on CNBC. So that's pretty cool. Obviously, that's tongue-in-cheek, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want anyone to say that I'm spreading misinformation. Nick, you had a bunch of reactions. I did too. I was unaware until moments ago that Solana was $63. I did not realize it
this morning. But the thing that I was more pissed off about, that's not something to be pissed off about, to be completely honest, although it is from the standpoint that I wish I had more. I'm pissed that I don't have freaking Prime. I was looking at AVAX. We were talking about it yesterday, and I was like, shit, I got to go buy some Avalanche. That's one addition to
your boys' bags are packed and they're pumping. That's what it's all about, baby. Your boys' bags for the last 6 months who have been screaming from the mountaintops are just pushing higher.
How much Avalanche do you have now?
A lot. AVAX and Sol are my two biggest holdings, significantly more than ETH and Bitcoin by a wide margin.
Wow. I have $1,000 of AVAX, so I'm pretty much rich. That's easy. Like, that is wild that AVAX is actually running now, but I can't say I'm like terribly surprised. You know what I mean?
$10,000 of AVAX.
You need 10 grand of AVAX?
At least.
Minimum.
Okay. You
I
need
think
that.
I think I might just do it right now.
Just plow it in live on the show.
Yeah, I
On
would
a
just yeet
pump.
that in right now.
Yo, everyone faded me. Yo, I yeeted in, by the way, on Solana some more at like $50 just because. How's that looking?
Great. It looks great.
Okay.
Good thing you didn't let Pio stop you at this time.
I showed. Yeah, well, he still owes. At this point, he owes me like $100,000, convincing me out of a trade live on this show. We have it on record, so that's like the thing that I just want to make note of. The thing I was saying also, I had mentioned because I remember when Signal was talking about the week or the waiting for a pullback on Solana. I guess we got it. My target was 45. It went down to like 53. And we're just not getting the pullback. And the example that I was using is I said, look at the weekly from July 21 when Solana was at 26. And by, let's say, September 21, it hit $215. So it just went on that run within like a 4-month period, and every week it just kept going. So you didn't have a down week. You may have had down moments, like down days, but you didn't have down weeks. So I don't know, dude. AVAX, the target is so high that's the reality at this point in time. So like,
what's the target? Easy
200.
yeah,
and what is it now?
$20.
No, it's not. Is that low?
1960, I think 1980. I'm not looking at it, but my target's $200
right now because I wanted to buy it yesterday. It was as low as like 15 yesterday.
1580 was, I think, the bottom ticker. You could have gotten in at 16 basically the whole day. But yeah, my target on AVAX is like 200.
I wouldn't buy in, Nick. It's up 20%. You know what I mean? So you really want to just be patient and try to get in at 1550. And hey, if it goes to $50, I mean, oops, right?
well, real quick, and Signal's not here on Wednesdays, but I want to talk to her about this when she's on the show. So get this. You just brought up how she told you to wait for a Solana pullback. So if I look back, she told me not to sell my Captain at 10 ETH. That was number one. She told me not to sell my Captain at 10 ETH. Then she told me to FOMO into a mutant at 6.2 ETH the other day. She was like, you better do it now. This is coming from Franelations. This is the alpha. Now that's 5.68. She told us to wait for a pullback on Solana. I'm just gonna go opposite on all those calls at this point.
Well, Pio, you know what hurts? What I said yesterday.
Bad trader without her present is kind of disrespectful.
Yeah, you got to call her a bad trader tomorrow when she's here. It's only respectful. But what I said yesterday,
that I want to talk about this with.
What I said yesterday that panned out exactly as I thought it would was parallel avatars were 0.39 yesterday, almost a clean 2x on those, and I didn't buy a single one. That hurt a lot. That one hurt a lot.
Were you considering buying yesterday?
I said these are a buy yesterday on the show. Literally was like, I think these are an absolute buy under 0.4 because of the game that they dropped that had the avatars in it. And I was like, this is making sense. Prime just rallied too, which caused those to run. I think avatars go over 1, like without hesitation. I genuinely think they go over 1.
That's definitely when you love NFTs and like their kind of supply squeeze constraints, because if you bought Prime back in, I think it was August, if you bought it at like $2, right, you're up a little bit more than a 3x, but at the same time you could have gotten a Prime avatar for like 0.10, so you'd be up like 6.6x. So yeah, a lot of times like the NFTs squeeze harder, and as Easy said, that's also because people are really excited about Prime's new game that they're working on called Colony, which is like a heavily AI infused game where you're almost like guiding and like shaping this AI character, but they still make their own decisions. So it has a really good narrative around it that is getting people excited. So when you factor that in, it's not too surprising, I guess, that the avatars are pumping harder than the token. But either way, if you own anything in there, you're pretty happy.
So, well, congratulations on that. The chart that I just pulled up for the YouTubers shows the weekly of Avalanche. And in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't look that high right here. And here's what I'm looking at. This is a breakout territory potential.
Out of those bands, Nick.
Dude, I mean, like, I don't know. I just feel like if you're gonna go on the run up, let's ride this thing to 100 or 150, something like that. Now that said, I saw something. There was an article. So yesterday, the market pumped on the CPI data, and there were some decent earnings. And then I saw, but watch out for the death cross, because the death cross is signaling that the market's going to pull back and the recession is coming. And so the biggest thing that I'm just like, everyone keeps talking about this. Part of me is just like, okay, I don't give a shit if I got AVAX at 20 or 10. Like, who cares? Because it's going to 100.
Yeah, and just like in my personal experience, the death cross has been like a terrible TA indicator over the past like 3 or 4 years. I'm pretty sure like we hit the death cross on either crypto or the S&P last year, and it just went
hit
up.
It on NQ and S&P, and then it just rallied. It just rejected its death cross and gigacent.
Yeah, it went up only. So it's not the best signal anymore. That's a boomer signal.
All the people calling for recessions are out to lunch.
We've been in one. We've literally, the second they say we're in one, it's over. That's the thing. Every time. The second they're like, we're in a recession, it's like, wow, you're a year and a half too late.
Yep.
Jesus.
What's so funny?
I'm about to just buy.
Comment pinned and took off with the swiftness. I'll read it out loud. It was from Trader Fermi.
All right, I see it. You don't have to read it out loud. I see it. Nick, what were you going to say?
Oh my God, that's inappropriate. Everyone is wondering what that is now. So I'm buying 5K right here of AVAX.
AVAX?
I know Nick's buying AVAX because his mind is distracted.
Buy the AVAX. Buy it.
Nick, do you want my third alt that's yet to pump? This one's even more speculative.
Dogecoin?
No. It's my third bag, H-bar. I'm a big H-bar max. I love Hedera, dude. H-bar. Love H-bar. Love it.
I don't know
Thing
why,
got up
but
to
H-bar makes me think of rhubarb pie for some reason. I don't know why.
Bullish, dude. Bullish. Like quality dessert, I think. I don't think I've ever had rhubarb. What's rhubarb taste like?
It's a vegetable. So
That's
real
disgusting.
quick, AVAX. All right, well, Dogecoin's gonna pump at some point.
$3,000, all right? $3,000, boom, bought to market
You're
price.
gonna be so pissed that you just kept talking yourself down on this one. You went from 5K, 10K to 5K to 3K, and when AVAX touches 30, you're gonna be like, they told me not to plow 10K into it.
Nick, I'm gonna make up. I'm making up for the
$2,000.
I was gonna say I'm making up for the Solana thing. Just go off right now, Nick. Just spray money into AVAX right now.
$200,000 on Avalanche, Pio.
Like literally, just start spraying right now, dude. Like,
I'm not more cash. Is literally what
Nick, when AVAX trades at $150, think of the property that you could purchase in Miami. That's how I look at this. Think of the quality establishment you could own.
That's honestly facts. And Nick, if you got a couple shekels lying around in the wallet, I know you're almost maxed out. Throw
you
a couple
just making
thousand
fun
on
of me
Ronin
for being
while you're
Jewish, dude? What the hell was that?
What do you mean? What?
Saying that if you got some shekels coming at me but that was just racist.
No, there's not there was no Jewish implication there. Kicks, sorry on behalf of Nick. Go ahead, please continue.
No, I'll reword it for him. If you have some Israeli dollars, Nick, lying around, maybe you can buy a couple $1,000s of Ronin.
Ronin, dude, Kicks, I don't know if I can do the Ronin thing, amigo.
You should do the Ronin thing. He's spot on. Daily active users across their games been up only, significantly outpacing the token price. Ronin's one of the few chains that has consistently shipped at an aggressive rate, just rolled out 4 games last month, and they're actively spending when it comes to marketing, which to me is like the most bullish sign, is that like despite the bear, they're throwing capital around. Gameplay numbers are going up, daily active users going up, partnerships with the CyberCoins drop they had a few months back, additional projects moving over there. Their BD team is kicking ass and taking names.
Wow. Well, I just texted my friend who's intimately familiar with Ronin token, and so we're going to figure out what the deal is with him.
You want to know one of the most depressing stats to look at, Pio?
What?
basically what our Solana all-time unrealized return is. And by unrealized, I don't know why it's tracked like this in
Like basically the Solana we've sold from BoDoggos and royalties and things like that.
Like $2.4 million, basically.
we can hold future royalties in Sol.
Well, we did. We left the royalty wallet sitting for like a month and a half, and it went from
the other day told me to sell the whole thing, and I sold half of it just because I was like, dude, I'm not doing this easy. I'm not doing it again. We got a small amount of Sol at this point. It's not enough.
Well,
you're not trying to trade company funds, like day trade company funds.
Actually, that's all that I want to do is just trade away all of the money that all the commenters have given us, basically, just to spite them and just lose it and say, guys, sorry, we lost it in a bad trading error.
Well, I'm Mr. Conservative sell, make sure that we're doing everything like really, really conservative. But I was saying that we should hold some Solana just because of where we're at in the cycle, right? Because even if Solana pulls back by 50%, it wouldn't matter because like our level of exposure to it is so small. And if we have the stomach to hold, say, like 1,000 Solana for the next year or year and a half, then good God. I mean, it's just going to be back to like having so much cash.
I mean, I can't wait to just have an insane amount of cash, PO, just what a great situation. Looking forward to it.
I'm just saying we're trending towards having so much cash.
Okay. Well, I look forward to those days.
Anyway, moving on. Will we see another NFT run as we head into December of the new year? Kix was pointing out, dude, NFTs, when they pump hard, that's what makes people addicted to them. It's so awesome when the NFTs just pump their asses off. It's crazy. It's pretty wild. Clemente, what are you thinking about here?
So I was looking at this recently, and I remember Kix last year basically predicted that we would have another NFT run in late 2022, and it started in December. So if you look at the weekly chart, you can see that NFT market volume started to pick up in literally the first week of December and was up only for about 2 months heading into that Blur Season 2 airdrop. And if you look at this year, I'm wondering if Kix thinks that's going to happen again. We saw a little bit of a bump earlier than last year, but I'm curious if he thinks we'll see another NFT run in December and January like we've seen the last 2 years.
I definitely think it's possible. And I mean, one of the really impressive things, if we've seen like the, ETH hasn't done anything crazy, right? But like, there's been a lot of alt activity and a lot of strength in just like crypto prices in general. And you would think that would like translate into like lots of selling off of NFTs, but we haven't really seen that. And we've even seen NFTs like completely hold their floor prices despite ETH like going up 10%. So that definitely is like showing some strength and shows that like we've probably gotten pretty close to flushing out like a lot of like the bad underwater money in NFTs. So I think that the setup makes it possible. But I would lean towards more like new things kind of coming out, right? Because like let's look at like some of like the biggest pumps in the past couple of months, and they've pretty much all been in the gaming sector, right? So we have parallel avatars. They came out around like 0.10, 0.12, went down to 0.06, all the way up to 0.66 now. So that's like a 6 to 10x depending on where you got in. And then grapes, right? Grapes is another example. Was that 0.10 to 2 ETH or something like that, right? So I think if you're really looking to, if you have a little bit more of a risk tolerance and you're really looking to like, stack up a big bag, I would be focused on new NFTs coming out, and specifically in the gaming sector. I think there could be some good wins. I don't know if I'm just so far removed from the NFT ecosystem, but it seems like there's not a lot of like new drops happening. I feel like we even had way more new drops like earlier this year than we're having right now. So I wonder if like we're going to actually see a healthy amount of new drops coming out over the next like 2 months. If that's the case, I think that there's going to be a lot of opportunity there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I know.
Oh,
Go
sorry,
ahead. Go ahead, Easy.
I was going to say, there's been no hyper speculation on upcoming mints on ETH or Sol right now. Like, everything's just existing collections. And in order to get an NFT run, you need like a big hitter to happen. And when that happens, the whole market kind of rallies. I also just bought a parallel avatar. I just pulled the trigger at the Pico top. I just said, fuck it. Someone commented on the page and said parallel avatars supposedly can mine Prime in the game. And that's all I needed to see. As soon as I saw that, if you can use the thing to get Prime's token, I'm all in. These things are going much higher if that's the case. I spent 0.67 at
baby.
We'll keep buying the top. We're not going anywhere. Now I got Prime exposure and I didn't even need to buy the token. Talk about a win-win-win-win-win. Your boy is winning.
And the nice thing, Easy, is you're not even gonna have to like move your character around and have it mine it. It's an AI character. So you literally just hop on and you like.
I'm gonna talk to this guy so much. We're gonna have so many conversations. He looks really ugly, but he's gonna be my best friend. We're gonna hang out.
Yeah, you're gonna be like, hey, dude, notice you've been spending a lot of time at the bar. I'd really like you to get in the mines and start getting some Prime for me, buddy, okay?
You got to get that black lung indicator up, Chief. Get the black lung indicator up. Get down in the mines. That's my avatar. I just copped it right now. It's got a nice little dagger. I don't really know what's going on here, but yeah, I bought the floor. I'm here.
You could even maybe convince him if he mines enough Prime for him, you'll set him free, right? Because like the AI is kind of your indentured servitude. And you say, if you can earn your freedom, I'll send your NFT into a decentralized smart contract and you'll be truly free.
Well, there you go. Fascinating. How's the gaming thing that we bought the other day doing, Easy? The thing that has a
down terrible. Okay. Just all the way down. I lost.
What's it called?
Black boxes or something like that. It went straight down after. I was like, what the fuck? Like, should have done more research. Didn't do enough research.
It's just over now? It's over?
Yeah, you can claim it. Oh, yeah, we all bought
0.2 weeks worth.
Yeah, we all bought it.
What I was going to say is I don't know if I want to be buying ETH NFTs and getting destroyed on these gas fees anymore. Like, I just don't even know if I want to do that. Like, I really don't. The other day, because I got ETH on like Coinbase or like somewhere, and I had to move it into the Treasure and then into the MetaMask wallet. I was like, I don't want to be moving this thing a bunch of times and getting destroyed. $16 here, $22 here on the gas fees. I think I'm just good. I think I'm just all good on that, Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, speaking of quality, gaming platforms, Paragon, the partner of today's show, is building the ultimate NFT experience platform. And sorry, my dog has my boxing glove. Just give me 1 second. So anyway, sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Paragon is building the ultimate NFT experience platform created by a team of venture-backed Portal and BoDoggos community members, giving NFT holders the ability to get more out of their NFTs without having to sell, with features like try before you buy now, pay later, renting NFTs, and more. The platform, as I mentioned before, is in closed beta, but they're launching the NFT collection tomorrow as an intro to the ecosystem. The collection is called The Seekers. It's minting for free on Ethereum tomorrow, for free, ladies and gentlemen. The allow list is closed and minting begins at 9 a.m. Eastern. Public starts at 2 p.m. Eastern with a supply of 9630. That NFT gives holders a reward multiplier. The NFT will be a player in the Paragon game and makes for a great profile picture. But most importantly, it gives every holder access to the Paragon platform's closed beta, and we'll have all sorts of platform benefits. So you can check out play.findtheparagon.com. That's play.findtheparagon.com. We're actually going to be speaking with Tim from Paragon in just about 15 minutes to learn more about Paragon and tomorrow's free mint. So very, very exciting stuff. Moving on, Nick, are you doing okay right now? I feel like the AVAX and, all this stuff, it's giving you like a dopamine deficiency here. You doing all right, buddy boy?
I'm doing all right. Excuse me. I'm doing all right. I'm just checking out Magic Eden and looking at other things that we can buy the top of here. I'm up 10. I was checking out my performance here on Mad Lads. So far, the floor is up 10 Sol since I bought, which
and
is
Solana's up. You're up a little over $1,500.
Well, that math doesn't add up, Easy. 10 Sol is $600.
But Solana's up also about $10 on top of it. So the combined, you bought it for like $3,500
value.
Yeah.
purchase.
Yeah. USD value, it broke, I think, a little over $5,000, and you got in around 3,500, which is great.
Well, I bought it with my Solana, so
Never mind.
It's just in Solana gains at this point. But I'm looking forward to making some of that Solana and having this price go up a little bit more here.
Well, I mean, if everyone's going to pour into Solana NFTs, Mad Lads basically is the #1 Solana NFT project now. Am I incorrect about that?
It is. By floor price, it is the highest right now. Besides like Boogle, but that's like a boutique 100 supply collection. Yeah, of course. Like that. 2 just sold yesterday for 150 grand each, back to back. Absolutely
Cool.
banana lands. But yeah, Mad Lads is the highest 10K generative collection.
Someone said Mad Lads has huge resistance at 100 SOL. Okay. I mean, like, yeah, send it to 100. The thing is I feel like Armani and Mad Lads is the kind of like real deal. Maybe I'm out to lunch. I don't know. I just bought one. I don't know. But I feel like they're like that team is the real deal. And as this stuff kind of comes out and as people get interested in Solana NFTs, I mean, Nick wrote the guide. I read Nick's guide. It's Mad Lads, Claynosaurs, and BoDoggos. I got all 3. I'm ready. I'm ready to cook. Let's go.
Dude, all you got to do is buy those 3. I also think like really understanding the thesis of the fact that ETH maxis are eventually going to capitulate. They're going to capitulate at some point. Wait till DC Investor starts tweeting about Solana and just saying, I think I realized that I got this wrong. Solana is the future.
I don't know if you're going to get that.
I was just 2 years early is all I'm saying. I was just 2 years too early to now see Pio and Nick come full circle and be Solana maxis.
I will say that the Kathy Wood, who stole my insight and then just butchered it on CNBC. Like her presentation of that information was pretty awful. She was like, yeah, first came Bitcoin and then you had Ethereum, which was faster and cheaper.
And now Solana's faster.
No, yeah, but I was like, that's not what the value proposition was. Like, it was really more about the fact that it was a development platform. And then I saw that article. I said, why did ETH pull back? And people are sending this article about Vitalik committing fraud. And I'm like, bro, the guy who's like, quote, outing him about ICOs, which were 2017, he's basically saying that they were just trying to make money off of this. And that Ethereum was never designed to be like the most efficient platform. And I'm just like, what the hell are you talking about? And also, bro, how much did you make from working on Ethereum? Like, that's the thing that I just don't understand. Like, he talks about how he was advising Vitalik and that his idea, he invented ICOs and all this other stuff, but he's blaming Vitalik for committing all this fraud. Wait for the evidence. And then Bitcoinist, some site, which I don't read on the regular, but is a news site apparently, which has a bias towards Bitcoin, was like, basically ran with the headline that Vitalik about to be exposed for fraud. And the guy's like, well, it's not completely that way. He's like toning it down a little bit, but I'm just like, who is this dude? Like, never heard of him.
So this guy says that he invented the idea of selling tokens at the beginning of a token launch. Like, that is like, who could have ever thought about that other than that guy? Thank God he came around, huh? That's some real like fringe mathematical, you have to understand some real advanced math to be like, hey, we're going to launch something. Let's sell some of it up front.
Sorry. He invented utility token is what his profile says. This guy, Steven Nerayoff, Nerayooff. And it's a recording about saving the Ethereum Foundation, not directly on the fraud. So he doesn't have a recording of evidence of fraud. It's just illuminating in many areas. And then he links to the article about fraud from Bitcoinist, fraud proof coming in days. which Bitcoiners would love nothing more than to expose Vitalik for the fraud that he is. What a bunch of nonsense. We didn't even discuss any of the other things. I got a text message this morning. Apparently, I told one of our investors to sell the Captainz into the pump, and he's like pissed off at me.
He should be, because the meme coin allocation per captain right now is about 12 ETH locked up. It's 12.9 ETH for a floor captain, 160 ETH for the alien captain. So you have Punk 6529, absolute legend, by the way, just keeps posting all the updates as meme coin pumps, and he's like, yeah, the fair value right now is just not making sense. Like a captain's at 4.8 and the token value is currently at over 12 ETH, not including whatever else happens. I'm like, yeah.
So is there about to be a
complete sense, right? Because if you 4x the supply of the token, then you should divide that out, right?
Yes. Yeah.
We'll
see.
So it actually makes complete sense.
But
It's pumping.
there's no doubt. I like in that post, dude, everyone in this space, 100%, 100%, you cannot name a person to me that goes and talks about a subject matter that has like authority on the matter that does not own a fuck ton of the thing that they're talking about, basically.
I don't think Punk 6529 owns any captains.
But Laura Shin does not talk about like in depth. She's not talking about Captainz and pumping the hell out of it, basically.
She pumps Captainz, dude.
She does zero pumping with this stuff. She instead interviews and investigates. But the entire position here is so ridiculous. I mean, maybe NFT Stats doesn't own any of these, which
no, he
has an MVP, so he has the separate thing. The other
Stats does.
That's what Abro just said. Abro's a big whale in the meme land ecosystem.
Oh, Abro's saying 6529 has an MVP, so he does have exposure to the meme land system. NFT Stats for sure does not own everything. He literally is just obsessed with the charts, and he's like, "Oh, cool, good looking chart. Let me do some analysis on it, post it, write a tweet about it." Like, yeah, he can't be buying everything.
It was the MVP that he messaged me about. That he was like, "You told me to sell into the pump," and apparently that one maybe that had the highest yield.
Yeah, that thing like doubled in price too.
Which investor?
I'm not naming them on the
I wouldn't
show.
call him an investor anymore, P. I call him a former investor.
A one-time investor?
How much would he have made?
Which one did he own?
Depending on when he sold, like I think they went up by like 30 ETH. No big deal.
So
or
Nick,
anything.
just real quick, about 3 weeks ago, these were sitting at a 30 ETH floor. Right now, they're at a 90 ETH floor. And that's not including the fire sale and the meme coin.
I was off by 30 ETH. My bad.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So they.
It's like better than a bored ape.
Nick's face right now.
I may have ruined that relationship.
Nick, at this point, you got to double down with a high conviction call. Tell him just to eat it all into like parallel avatars. Or something.
Yeah, these things look like you should sell them. That literally screams 90 ETH. Screams 90 ETH.
Oh my god.
How much are these yielding right now in token? Like, what's the locked up value?
I have no idea. Hey, bro, answer the question in the comments. Let us know how much MVP has in tokens. Because
Abro texts me and he's like, "Yo, I'll come on the show." I'm like, "Dude, I don't need to hear about how rich you are because of Captainz. Thank you."
300K in meme.
Nick's like physical, like whatever 300K. He's saying, "Wow, Nick's really going through it right now."
Hey, Nick, just tell him. Tell the investor next time, grow some balls and make a decision for yourself.
All right, I'll text him that.
No, but just tell him, hey, the bull market's early, man. No one bats 1,000, but I'm gonna have some wins for you coming up, and I'm gonna deliver it to you fresh on a platter.
How you doing, Nick?
I mean, it would have paid off his investment in our company.
Meme coin, what a performance. Pretty wild stuff out of the meme land ecosystem. Pretty gnarly. Last thing to discuss here before we have Tim from Paragon on. Clemente, there's a few things here. What do you think is the most pressing?
I mean, real quick. I mean, since you didn't read the newsletter,
oh, I just realized that
Trump hosted his trading card gala this past weekend, and no one was talking about it. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Kix was there. Kix was on site at the gala.
Kix was on site. I'm sure it was really a spectacle. Is he dropping more cards?
He didn't say anything about it, and I'm not sure. But it was a very interesting insight to see, like, the people there. It just goes to show that there's so many people out there that are willing to buy an NFT that haven't bought an NFT yet. But, like, they're not going to, like, the average person isn't going to come and buy one of our NFTs necessarily, right? But, like, imagine if Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift dropped an NFT together. Imagine that. Is your dog okay?
Yeah, my bad. But anyway.
Yeah, I think your dog got excited with that idea because I do agree, Sapphire, it's a genius idea. Imagine if Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift did an NFT, right? Just Taylor Swift. If Taylor Swift did an NFT, imagine how many people would buy an NFT that had never bought an NFT before in their life. And I think that was like the biggest eye-opener to me to realize like that truly, I think there was people there, so many people that this was the first thing that they ever bought, and they also owned $0 in crypto. Just to give you like the perspective on like the demographic slice there. So like it really makes me bullish on NFTs. I think that there's just such a huge addressable market for these things. But yeah, he was pretty funny. He made a joke about inflation and said, you know, inflation's hurting America, but I'm sure that all you guys in NFTs didn't mind it because that's why they were worth so much money. And I was like, oh, that's actually, you know, pretty much facts. That's why we had the craziest bull run of all time. But yeah, man, it was interesting. Yeah, it was a good time.
Nick, the commenters are commenting on your physical form right now. Are you all right?
I'm gonna make it, but I may leave the show early just to, you know, I don't know, to collect my thoughts in existence here. You know,
Throw up in the bathroom.
This is a difficult moment for me.
Okay, go relax, amigo. Go relax. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it. You'll be okay. All right, big dog. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome the partner of today's show, Tim, aka the Wizard from Paragon, BoDoggos and Nifty Portal community member, but more importantly, representing Paragon as the CEO. Tim, how's it going?
It's going well. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. We talked about Paragon a little bit here. We have the free mint of the Seekers dropping tomorrow. Very exciting stuff, starting at 9 a.m., public mint at 2 p.m. Eastern time. But for the people that are unfamiliar with Paragon, the Seekers collection, the game, any of these things, can we get a 60-second rundown?
You bet. So we get that question a lot. Like the question ends up being, are you a platform? Are you a NFT project? Are you a game? And the answer to all those questions is yes. But they all work together. So it is a platform where you can buy and sell, but we're really more focused on renting to buy, renting to own, try before you buy now, pay later, blah, blah, blah. There's so many features that are beyond buy and sell, which is the focus of the platform. And then the game is really a way in to the platform. I kind of think everything is a game. So we built a game around the platform, not only as a way in, but also to incentivize the use of the platform, to let people explore different parts of the platform. Also to partner with NFT collections, because you can use any NFT, any verified NFT in the game, not just ours. But then the collection draws it all together. The collection kind of spans everything. So if you want to go deep across the whole platform, across the whole ecosystem, the game, everything, then you should hold an NFT, which is minting for free tomorrow. So we're really excited to get that going.
Awesome. And you know, you were talking to us about your gaming background. You said you worked on Pokemon Red and Blue for all the gamers out there that played Game Boy back in the day. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you decided to move into a Web3 professional environment?
Well, given all the conversation about Solana today, then you might enjoy this, which is I've been making games forever since I was little. But yeah, my first game out of college which of course dates me, was working on Pokemon Blue and Red, and figuring out how to basically how to bring it to the States. And because it's already popular in Japan, they wanted to call it Pocket Monsters. I had to write a letter to Arakawa-san, the president of NOA at the time, explaining why he couldn't call Pokemon Pocket Monsters in the United States. It was an incredibly awkward letter that I wish I had kept. So it's not my fault that it got called Pokemon, but I'd love to take credit for it. That said, that really got me thinking about games. I realized that's what I wanted to do. I threw my life away about 15 years ago to make a game and start a studio for my first commercial game, which was called The Continuum. A lot of Continuum community members are actually part of the Paragon community right now. So shout out to the denizens. But we basically made a Web3 game before Bitcoin was invented. So 2006, 2007, we made an online collectible war game. Easy and Kicks, I think you might have loved it. You could trade your characters, you could develop them individually, but you were playing it online. It was free to play before free to play was cool. But that led me from an incredibly niche game into, I've been making mobile games, web games, console games, PC games forever. I've worked on World of Warcraft, Uncharted 4, a lot of games that probably you guys have heard of. And I made a lot of indie games too, which are kind of my passion. So that led me into kind of the design around Paragon with the game going into it. But the reason that I got into it was because despite the fact that I was making mainstream games, I became a Solana on the side. I made an entity that only I knew of, and I started messing around with Solana as well as ETH and collecting NFTs and getting into it. And then I realized that's actually the space I wanted to be in. So that led me into Web3 from a professional standpoint.
Well, and I love that detail. And you told me about that, about how you kind of had to keep it on the low for a year or something like that. So that was really cool. Real quick, of course, this happens right now. The Twitter space rugged. So if you look,
no, they sent it back.
We're good.
Oh, it's good.
You're good.
I rugged. There you go. Well, anyway, it's good to hear that we're back on Twitter. Forgive me, any Twitter people that missed anything that Tim talked about. Tim, when you think about developing this platform, developing the game, developing the NFT ecosystem, obviously you're talking about renting, you're talking about unlocking, different things on the platform. Can you give detail on the way that what's going on? What?
Yeah, you didn't ask that. You didn't get the follow-up question, which is why did he need to keep this in secret? You were like, yeah, you told me that, which is cool, and just went over the thing. Why did he need to do that?
Tim?
I think you guys know this. Traditional game development talent actually still has a relatively negative opinion of Web3 gaming. And I think we're starting to see the talent move over into Web3. I like to think I was kind of early on it, but when I was talking to people within the studio that I was working in at the time about how I was going DJing into Solana and playing all the games and understanding what an opportunity was, I got a lot of but this is mid 2022. So there was that kind of there was a stigma against it that I think that we're working through, and I think that goes across the board. But I did. I was on the DL for a long time until I joined Paragon, and then realized we can actually help, particularly games, get into the mainstream and get more focus and attention.
Okay.
Awesome. Oh, Nick, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, so back to, what I was talking about, for example, for someone that may have a allow list for tomorrow's Seekers Mint or paying attention for the public at 2 p.m. Again, it is a free mint on Ethereum. What can they kind of expect after they get the Seeker? What's coming next for Paragon, this ecosystem, this platform?
So this is kind of the first step. So we've been building for a long time. We've been building for like a year and a half on all of this. So what we're doing with the collection is it's kind of kicking off our rollout. We've been closed beta for a while. We're on mainnet, and some people are giving us great feedback about what's going on. But the Seekers collection, and this is why we did the free mint, because I'm pretty excited about this collection. We went deep on all the aspects of it, on the art, on the lore. It's a player in the game. It's going to be a reward system on the platform, but we're doing it for free. And that's really because of the fact that we're using the collection to get everybody into the platform and start to really have people get kind of bought into giving us feedback, developing the platform. Because I talked about a bunch of the platform benefits and the features that we've got, but also we're trying to create a place where you go every day and you have fun every day. And I think most of us go to marketplaces sometimes to kind of figure out what's going on. We're going to tell you what's going on. So discovery is going to be part of what we're doing, why you should transact or why you might want to, on a part-time basis, get access to an NFT. We're trying to roll all those types of things out for people. But we're going bam, bam, bam on rollout. The Seekers come out tomorrow. A couple weeks from now, the big game is going to come out. A couple weeks after that, or a little after that, we're going to be going to open beta. The reveal for the NFTs will be right before the game comes out. So we're going to have lots of beats here in the next couple of months. So people can expect lots to do after they mint their Seeker and start following along.
It sounds like it. And I mean, we're seeing the commenters for those watching the video feed on YouTube. The commenters are definitely co-signing the approach based on what Tim is laying out. You know, one thing I wanted to dig into is you mentioned being able to, you know, have people get a lot out of the NFTs without having to sell them. Right? Because in this kind of market that we're in, a lot of people buy NFTs with the intention of to sell them. You look at, you know, platforms like Blur and Flooring Protocol, the intense financialization of NFTs. How do you envision Paragon, you know, fitting into this conversation? And what's the kind of like any sort of detail that you can give us about being able to get a lot out of your NFT without selling it?
Yeah. So I think the best way to think about that is most marketplaces are focused on sort of the beginning of your NFT experience and the end, which is the buying and the selling, right? Yeah. And when you're focused on that, but you think about the 80 to 90% of any collection that's not listed, that's not being sold, and you wonder, what are people doing with that? And I talk about it a lot, that our marketplace is focused on what you do with NFTs as opposed to just what they're worth. So we're focused on the middle of the experience, right? If you want to, if you're a holder and an owner, we want to give you more opportunities to use your NFTs and to monetize your NFTs without selling them. So if something's happening this weekend and it's important, you've got a game asset, but you're not going to use it. It's great for somebody else to rent it. You get some liquidity, you make some money off of it, and somebody else gets to use it on a part-time basis, but you don't sell it. You get to hold on to it. So it lets holders make money off of their collections without selling. And on the owner side, you know, with something like rental, you can access something that you want to do with the NFT, again, for the weekend, for the next month. But also this whole idea of rent to buy is really exciting. When Easy was talking about parallel and thinking about what's about to go up, if you rent to buy, and any owner can set this up, you're locking in a price for somebody, and you can rent it for the next 3 months, sitting on a price that you at any time can then purchase for. So if something makes a run, you're all of a sudden in a situation where you've got the option to buy it at a price that was already pre-set up. So part of it's to use it, part of it's people can use it on an ongoing basis, potentially to buy. And then buy now, pay later gives you access to, in some cases, access to assets that you otherwise couldn't afford. And ours is real. The minute you make your first installment, you have control of the asset. So the minute you buy now, pay later on the NFT, you get to use the NFT. As long as you keep paying your installments, you're good.
I love it. I mean, look, we're seeing this kind of transition toward, it's not even a transition. It's just the kind of moving forward of NFTs, right? Before it was just like kind of a speculative piece of art, sort of, but obviously so many people coming from the gaming world, like you, coming in and actually developing mechanics that make sense. The technology allows you to do a ton of incredible stuff, right? So it's good to see someone pushing to take advantage of it, right?
Yeah. I mean, we make jokes about our JPEGs, but the reality is those JPEGs do a whole lot of cool stuff, and that's really what we're focused on.
Absolutely. Kix, I don't know if you're still on stage. I don't know if you had any questions for Tim or feedback. I'm rugged from Twitter, so forgive me. I don't know if Kix is on stage right now or if anybody can. Okay, Kix, are you here with us?
Kix is in the room currently right now.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Really excited for the free mint tomorrow for Seekers. I got rugged for a second and came back in, so I wasn't able to fully understand what getting a Seeker does for me. Could you explain that again, if you don't mind?
Yeah, so it'd be bad for me to go on about what NFTs do and not talk about what ours do. So there's 4 or 5 things that we're gonna post up today that you can count on. When you mint a seeker or you hold a seeker, it's going to do a big 3 things out of the gate. The first one is you're going to get access to the closed beta of the Paragon platform. So you'll immediately after tomorrow be able to hop in, do all the things that I've been talking about, and experience it, and hopefully give us a lot of feedback, and help kind of drive the development ongoing. So that's the first thing. The second thing is it's a player in the game. You can use any NFT to play our Find the Paragon game, and it's called Find the Paragon for a reason. You are trying to find the other 2 collections that we also made that we haven't even talked about, because you can't mint the other 2 collections. You can only find them in the game. Any NFT can, but a seeker, as you can imagine, will do a whole lot of other things in the game for you that you can't do otherwise. It increases your success chances. It's going to unlock things. You're going to be able to combine it with other things to go after success, because our game is an idle game. You're going to go on missions and you're going to come back with loot, right? In fact, you guys, when you did your first portal entry a few weeks ago, pulled in a minion out of the gate on the first try, which is unbelievable. I couldn't believe that happened. Nice, Clemente. That said, you're going to be using any NFT plus your seeker plus a bunch of other stuff to bring back all sorts of different kinds of loot. And so it being a player in the game is the second thing. The third thing is it's the modifier multiplier extender of the reward system, which we're calling XP. It's hard for me to talk about games and not make the whole reward system a game around Paragon. So if you have a seeker, you're going to increase the rewards and the XP that you get within the platform. And our reward system is we're going to be rolling out over the course of the next couple of months too. It's very exciting. You're going to be competing, earning, going after all sorts of different NFTs and NFT rewards within it, and that'll go for, and the seeker will actually just extend all the ways that you earn that stuff.
And I know
awesome. Yeah, that was a great rundown. Yeah, sorry, Pio. I was just gonna say that's a great rundown. That sounds really cool. So it's an idle game where you can like connect with all sorts of different NFTs and PSP projects and stuff like that. But if you get the seekers that launch tomorrow, you essentially have like a higher modifier, or like a higher score that allows you to like place higher in these different idle game missions, get better gear, combine them, and scale up.
Yeah, and there'll be missions that you can only access if you've got a seeker. So that game will come out a few weeks after tomorrow. The mini game will persist, and then you're in a situation that's pretty interesting, because as we go from season to season to season in the game, the seekers will have all sorts of different unlockable, interesting stuff that they do within the game itself.
Epic. Clemente, I know you had a follow-up question.
Yeah, I wanted to ask. So Tim, I've been playing this game for the last. There's been a very like mini game that was launched for a little bit of context called I don't know what the name of it is, but basically all you do is you go to the website, you press seek every 4 hours, and you can win things. So I've probably pressed this button about 10 times in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, and I've won 820 XP. I've won 47 $ PGON. I don't know if you talked about this specifically, but the reward process and like this, I guess, in-game token, if there's anything that I can expect from that, or if you can share a little bit more details on it.
So it is an off-chain, PGON is an off-chain token right now, and it'll be an in-game currency that we use for all sorts of stuff that we roll out. So that's as far as I'll go on the token scenario right now, but stay tuned. The XP actually is the XP is going to be the reward system across everything. And you're not alone, Clemente. Like, we ended up 15,000 button pushes happened in the last couple of weeks. But what we were doing there is it wasn't just a pre-launch, hey, let's click the button and get some stuff. It is. But at the same time, the other piece to it is when you're playing this game, everybody is going to be off seeking the Paragon on missions, and they'll be time-based. And during that time, every couple of hours, there'll be a success check. But that success check happens for everybody in the community at the same time. So it's not based on you. So everybody in the community in Discord talking about what's going on, they're going to all be holding each other, waiting for the success check to go by to see if they fail or they succeed every couple of hours. And some people will succeed and some people will fail. If you fail, you don't lose anything. There's no loss. You just get less. It's like getting the spider ring at the fair. You just get a less reward. But if you succeed, you go on to greater and greater rewards. And you decide when you come home. So you basically every few hours with all the rest of the community will be going, did we or didn't we? And on you go. So it'll be an interesting sort of social game to watch happen.
I mean, love to hear it. Nick's messing around with it right now. Look, we just
he wanted to enter the portal. Yeah, it was enter the portal. He's waiting for the deeper experience.
My XP is competitive with Clemente here right out the gate. I got 250 experience points immediately, Clemente.
Yeah. Nick, you rolled well. That was on the upper end of that thing. Now you didn't get a minion though, or a Paragon. Both of those will be NFTs that also work in the game. Clemente will be able to claim a minion as soon as we launch those two collections, which will be after the main game launches.
What are the odds of rolling a minion?
Right now, I think it's 1 in a farfillion. I'd have to go and look at the exact amount, but I think it's roughly 1 in 500. I think right now is what it's set to, I believe.
Damn, dude, Clemente coming out with the win.
Dude, I needed that so bad.
You did amazing. We've given out 89 minions and 11 Paragons during this mini game process.
Well, it seems like our commenter Blake is just all over this. He said he's literally got a timer on his phone every 4 hours to go and engage with the idle play game. So look, I mean, you got some people on the hook already. It's pretty exciting stuff.
Is there a notification that pops up?
Not currently. Now, you know what happened in like mobile gaming, right? And unfortunately, I've made enough mobile games to know that, I don't want people waking up in the middle of the night to push the button. But people have. I mean, back to that 15,000, the average number of times any given person pushed the button was 7. So in a couple of weeks. So there's a lot of button pushing going on. That said, again, we're just trying to introduce the concepts that we're going to be exploring in a bigger way with the main game.
Tim, are you trying to convert the NFT market into button pushing zombies here? I mean, I'm just kidding. It seems like you're doing it right.
We're going to go from this current get whatever into more of a skill-based thing where you're putting different combinations together to try to get different outcomes. But yes, of course. I mean, the bottom line is, right when we go to different sites or marketplaces right now, a lot of times you'll check in. But is there something to get or do really quick? We're trying to provide that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm joking, and having an experienced mobile game developer stepping into NFTs is obviously exciting. Clemente?
Yeah, I wanted to ask Tim a little bit more about that upcoming game that you guys are launching next week, right?
No. It'll be a couple weeks. A couple weeks. Yeah, it'll be mint, reveal, big game.
Got
it.
So
it's not that big. It's not that big, but bigger game.
But it's bigger than the one, right? Can you share, if it's allowed, a little bit more about what this game is going to be? Because it seems like it's a little bit of a lift. You guys have been working hard on creating it versus the idle game where we're just pressing a button. Where do we go from here?
So this is still an idle game, but it's mission based. So basically, at the beginning, you will seek. Later on, we'll also release questing and raiding, which you'll all do together. But I'll focus on seeking right now. So seeking will also be idle, but what you'll do is load out, right? So the gamers of the world will know that you're loading out, in our case, characters. You can use any NFT to load out at the beginning, and you don't need a seeker to play. You can throw your doodle in there, and then off you go. And that will have a certain level of success metrics for whether they succeed or fail at each success check. Then you can also load out on top of that a seeker if you want, which will increase your scenario. You can also load out a minion if you happen to be lucky enough to have one, Clemente, and that will basically make it easier to find paragons. So over time, that will happen. But all you do is you say go, and you can do 3 at a time. And during that time, you will run off in Never Never Land, again, idly, for as long as you let it. The longer you go, the better the stuff you bring back. But every few hours, there's that success check that I talked about. So you're basically going, do I or don't I recall every time that you're looking at the game. And when you do, then you get your big rewards. If you fail, you get your eeny meeny rewards. But you're not locking up your NFTs. We're just checking your wallet at the beginning and the end to determine whether they were in your wallet. So at the beginning, that's seeking. Then we'll get into quests, which will have a storyline and awesome lore, and you'll unlock different quests to go down the storyline. And then after that, we'll launch raiding, where you and 20 or 30 of your friends will all combine the NFTs that you'd like into a raid, which will take a certain amount of time and have certain success, and of course have the best loot.
Well, this is freaking like I love that. And a couple things is I should have been pressing this button way more than I have in the last couple of weeks. I should have been on the Blade alarm regimen. But the second thing I was curious about it, and it's interesting from a timeline perspective, Tim, is it basically what you're doing from a marketplace point of view is you're getting people to interact with your website, to use NFTs, to like sign in with their wallet, etc., play with the game, interact with the game. So when you guys do roll out these additional marketplace features at a higher level, you already have people interacting with your website on a day-to-day basis already.
Good, completely. The way we're thinking about it is we're adding utility to other people's collections because you can use any of them. But also we're going to be partnering with collections. We're going to be doing collabs with people. And in some cases, let's say that we did a collab with XYZ, let's say Doodles again, since I use that as an example. And for a week or for a certain amount of time, a doodle might have extra effect in the game. And if you don't have one, rent one. If you don't have a seeker, rent one. We'll be using the features within the game to turn on and incentivize the utilization of the platform itself. So there'll be reasons for you to go and do that. If you have to put together a certain combination of NFTs, now we're getting really complicated, and you've got 3 of the 4, rent the 4th, and all of a sudden you've got the combination. So we've got lots of interesting things like that that really integrate with the platform itself.
Hell yeah. And it looks like Kix is trying to sneak back onto the stage, but we're kind of coming to the end here. I mean, Tim, any closing thoughts, anything people don't know? Just to reiterate, we got the free mint launching tomorrow. Allow list is at 9 a.m. Eastern time. Public is at 2 p.m. Eastern time. This is the kind of first mint in this ecosystem. Anything else that we missed? Any other detail you want to provide the audience?
So if you got mint list, then 9 a.m. Eastern. Public will start at 2 p.m. Eastern. The supply is 9630. We will be minting 1,500 of them that we'll be using to incentivize, to reward, to use with the community and for project purposes. And I think people are going to get a kick out of it. And I hope they do. But yeah, all of it tomorrow, and we're really excited about it.
Well, people in the comments seem to be enjoying the conversation and are very excited about it. So that's always a good sign. I talk about the comments and, basically they don't hold back. They'll let you have it if they're not into it. So it's very cool to see almost unanimous praise for Paragon and just excitement for the mint tomorrow. Thank you for joining us, Tim. Ladies and gentlemen, play.findtheparagon.com to check out Paragon, which is minting tomorrow, the Seekers collection for free on Ethereum. If it's your first time listening, we do the show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern time, each and every week, where we discuss all things NFTs, crypto, and more. Show's also available on Apple and Spotify podcasts, as well as YouTube and X video for the video feed. Again, tomorrow, Paragon, Seekers collection, minting at 9 a.m. for allow list, 2 p.m. Eastern time for public. Thanks for listening, everybody.